Welcome back to the show, everyone. You're listening to the I Am Real Estate Show. We're sponsored by the Johnson Smith team at Indy Realty. We have with us today John Spur of Inspired Life Mortgage. He is the owner.
Hey, John. What I wanted to ask a little bit about was, for us as consumers, when we're shopping for a product, it's very easy to just find the model number, get out there and see who's got the best price.
Yeah, Amazon, Google, right?
Right. That's what we do. Honestly, we know if we're getting a good deal or not because we can just look it up. But that's really tough in the mortgage industry.
Yeah, it's shopping online for a mortgage opens up a lot of pitfalls. Number one, the minute you go on to any of these sites like Lending Tree or NerdWallet or any of those guys who allow you to compare credit cards or auto loans or mortgages or any of those things, it seems real convenient. You're going to go there, you see every bank, you see all their rates, so on and so forth. As soon as you put your information in there, they sell it. And you're going to have every mortgage company on the face of the planet texting you, calling you, emailing you. And let's remember, we just lost 80% of the mortgage volume in 1 year. You got a lot of starving mortgage loan officers out there that are going to say anything that they can think of saying to try to get you on the hook to do a loan with them.
And chances are the person reaching out to you may not even be a lender.
Absolutely. It may just be a call center asking you questions that they're allowed to ask that doesn't require them to be licensed to get enough information from you then to push you onto a mortgage loan officer who probably doesn't have a lot of experience if they're working at a call center, which is going to be another issue, especially in today's market. You want a loan officer that has years and years of experience to help you get into that home and maximize your purchasing power. But the one thing that just came out, gosh, I want to say it was this morning. My days are all blurred together. It's been a long week already. The CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was created by the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010, I believe, is when they passed it.
After we had all that
mortgage meltdown.
I was going to say, that's a good way of putting it, yes.
No, it's a mortgage meltdown. It was. It's a 15,000-page law that rewrote all of the financial institutions, not just mortgage. It rewrote credit cards, auto loans, payday loans, so on and so forth. And this is the agency that now governs any type of business that money changes hands. If money changes hands in this business in the sense of lending, savings, checking, short-term loans, credit cards, whatever, they handle it. They issued a warning to all websites that compare mortgage companies. And the warning is the first step. The warning from CFPB is, hey guys, we are watching you. We don't like what you're doing. This is why we don't like it. You need to stop. If they don't heed the warning, then they start getting penalized, shut down, so on and so forth. But the basis behind the warning is when you go to a place like NerdWallet or Lending Tree or any of those places, you put your information in and they give you 5 lenders. And they show the rates and they show the fees and they show the costs. Well, it's implied that those are the 5 best lenders. There's 50,000 mortgage companies in Arizona before you start taking on the nation. And so that is what the CFPB is taking issue with, is implying that we found you the 5 best. Well, it's not the 5 best, and they can't make that implication. And
there's so much individuality to the way that you treat an application based on the house, based on the client, based on their financial goals. And so it'd be very difficult for an algorithm, I guess, to match you to a lender that meets your needs.
Absolutely. And that's what they're taking issue with. And so although it's convenient and easy, your best bet is to use somebody in your marketplace that you can see, that you can meet, that you can touch, you can call a local number and talk to, as opposed to a big box website that is going to compare rates for you. And you've heard me say a lot of times, in my opinion, the rate is the least important part of the transaction.
Right, right.
It really is.
We want to see that buyer be able to successfully close on the sale. And we want to know, I know for us as real estate agents, whether we're representing a buyer or if we're representing a seller, we want to know that somebody can't just ghost us. And so if I have a local lender that I need to talk to, if I can't get a phone call back, I could always visit their office and have a conversation face to face. And so whether you're presenting an offer or you're competing for a house, it's really important to the agents as well that we know that our client is in good hands.
And I agree with you. And I've come across a lot of loan officers in my career that something starts going sideways and they don't answer the phone. They disappear. They don't want to issue bad news. I mean, Ray and I didn't have the best conversation yesterday, but we had it, and we're moving on, and we're gonna fix this transaction. It's fixable, but I made a mistake. I think everybody in the transaction made a mistake, but right. I owned up to it. I've got my end that I'm working on. But a lot of lenders and loan officers aren't willing to do that. I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day, and he said, how do we know the experience level of an LO? And I said, well, we all have NMLS numbers. And NMLS numbers were started to get issued in 2010. Well, my NMLS number is 304969. Today's NMLS numbers are 8 digits long. So if you're dealing with a loan officer who has a NMLS number that's 8 digits long and it starts with a 2, they probably got their license a month or two ago. I've been doing this for 30 years. I have one of the very first NMLS numbers that were out there, and there's a lot of great LOs in Tucson that have very low NMLS numbers and have been doing this for a very long time. So a real quick way is look at the business card. And they've got an NMLS number that's in the 300,000s and not the 12 millions. You're probably dealing with somebody who's been around a while.
Right.
Do you think there's one, Scar, do you think there's one or two questions that you would give the buyer something in their pocket, say, hey, ask these 2 questions. It may help you understand what the lender knows and doesn't know. I know it's like 20 questions, but there's 2 you can think of at the top of your head. This
might me being a little bit of a jerk, but ask the person that's doing a loan if they've ever owned a home or done a loan themselves. I mean,
that's a good place to start.
The other one really for me, the other part of it is personality. I don't get along with every person that calls me to buy a home because I've got a strong personality, but I have other LOs in my office that I can refer them to. But I think part of it is you got to feel comfortable speaking with that individual, and you've got to feel comfortable with the conversations they're having with you, because if you don't have that comfort level back and forth there, it's going to be a really long, bumpy road for that transaction.
Right.
I think that's one of the hardest things for people to share is their financial picture. And so typically it's a complete stranger, and maybe worse, it's somebody you know really well, and you don't know if you want to open up, all of your business to them. So I think that level of comfort is really important.
Absolutely. And in feeling that your information is going to be kept confidential and as it should be and needs to be. It should be.
Yeah. No, we as agents, people think we know everything that's going on in their finances, and we rarely do. We just know whether or not they're qualified.
And we try to emphasize to them that the personal information you're giving only to the lender. We don't need the information. I only know that you're qualified.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. This is the I Am Real Estate Show on 10:30 a.m. KVOI, The Voice. We will be back and finish our conversation with John after the break.